Hi, this is Giancarlo Floridia from Backstage. We are in Redondo Beach on this Thursday night. We're going to be checking out John Parr and we're going to be doing an interview with him. Let's go inside and have a talk with him. Brixton, Redondo Beach, and with me, some would say legendary, right?
Some would. Some would say other things.
Yes. It's John Parr, and how's the tour going so far?
It's going great. You know, this is kind of different. Doing a rock club, we've been doing a lot of American military bases and kind of hospital type shows. So this is kind of very different. You know, kind of paid gig. I get for free, do the others for free. So this is, you know,
excellent. Nice. With that whole concept. With a lot of the writing on the new material, I saw that it was like military based. Did you just decide one day, okay, this is what I want to do with music right now?
No, I mean, obviously my heyday was in the 80s. Everything was happening for me in the 80s. I'm a Brit. I came to America and everything was happening for me, everything was happening for the world in the 80s, except the military. And American military were told, don't wear uniforms in the street. People were not flying their flags like they do. It was a very unpatriotic. I just couldn't believe it. My father was military. I came to America in the 80s and I just could not believe how, it was almost like they came back from Vietnam. It was almost that bad. And I intended to do my bit. I thought, well, I would write songs about it and maybe even do concerts to raise awareness just about how wrong this is.
Do you feel it's, I mean, when you come up with concept records, ideas like this, it's obviously a lot more work as individual tracks. I mean, I know it's a hard thing to do.
This was the easiest album.
Really?
It was the easiest to write. Most of the songs were instant. Honestly, it was like I was taking dictation.
Okay.
It was that, it just came. I probably wrote the entire record in, I don't know, a couple of weeks. I had to record it really quick because, if you like, I've been deployed in America. I've been here since April of last year. I've only been home for 2 months in England when I made the record. So went back, probably recorded the record in about 5 or 6 weeks. Did a lot of the work myself, brought some buddies in. Really just wanted to kind of make it real, make it, you know, there's a couple of songs that are very high, you know, what can I say, high value tracks. But a lot of it is back to basics, you know, almost like garage band playing.
Yeah.
You know, my first album was like that. But the main thing, like you say, I think it's in it's got to be true, it's got to be real.
Yeah.
And what could be more inspiring than writing, you know, for our boys and girls that kind of allow you and I to play our guitars or sing or write your pieces or whatever, you know. We forget that, you know, and so yeah, as you can tell, I'm deeply committed.
Structure-wise, it's usually more complicated, but maybe like I'm getting from you like the inspiration. When the inspiration's there, it's just like,
yeah,
you know, like how you said all the ideas hit you really quick.
I don't take credit for it either. I honestly believe we musicians just kind of put the antenna up and it comes. If you're lucky, it comes in.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really take any credit for what I do. I mean, yeah, you know, I'm a craftsman. I've learned my trade. I'm like a carpenter or like a plumber or whatever. I mean, I've got that kind of skill, highly tuned. But really, the inspiration of it was just God-given, I think, you know.
Somebody we're going to talk about later is actually Richard Marx, and I heard an interview with him where he said, you know, when he's working on songs, it's like coming from either some sort of outside source, something of that nature. And sometimes when I'm writing too, I'll be stuck. What's going on? I'll wait, and then all of a sudden, just like, where did that come from?
Exactly. It comes 2 ways. I'll tell you a funny story about Richard, actually. I toured with him last year. And he did a one-man show, I do a one-man show, and he did a one-man show where he talks how the songs came together. He talks about his father, who was a famous jingle writer.
Yes.
But he said to me, I mean, Richard should have sang on St Elmo's Fire. He was just a session guy then, and he was unknown. and he was, I think it was either his day off or he was ill. So David just brought in Richard Page from Mr. Mister to sing backups, but it should have been Richard. And I always joke with Richard, think what your career would have been, man, if you'd have just sang on my record.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, he said to me, you know, we should do a song together on stage. And he wanted to do some song. So the next night I said, Richard, it was 5 o'clock. We were on stage at 7:30 in a theatre in England. I said, okay, let's write a song. So we wrote a song. Started at 5 o'clock and we performed it at 8 o'clock that night.
Amazing.
It's on YouTube. You'll see Richard and I do it. It's called Like Brothers, and but that is a mixture of two things: two kind of craftsmen and two kind of guys with the aerial, you know, drawing from. You know, we're both, you know, blessed by having very inspirational fathers, and I think our stories are not so dissimilar, Richard and I.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Speaking of the shows, that was another question. You had some stuff earlier, I believe this year in the UK, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how was that?
It was very interesting. Literally just went back for 2 shows. I went back in February. I did a thing called American Anthems, which was a theatre review show. So the band's on stage, but it's a story, a bit like a Meatloaf show really, where it's like there's a story going on. And it was, I didn't know, it was a story based on my life. It was about this guy who was like, played Madison Square Garden and then disappeared.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later he comes back for 1 show. So it's kind of, they based it on my kind of disappearance.
To have certain iconic songs,
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing, but do you have certain material outside of the iconic songs that really means something to you? Maybe like a favorite album or a favorite song that maybe didn't break as mainstream?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's frustrating, you know. It's like my father's favourite song was a song of mine called 2 Hearts. It was in a movie, but it was one of those songs you think, wow, this is a smash, you know.
Yeah.
Just didn't do it. Another Man with a Vision, off the Man with a Vision album. You know, you think, wow, this is just like, you know, for me, as good as I can do. Nothing, you know. So I do have. The only great thing for me, the great, you know, because obviously I've had this huge hiatus of 20 years out of the business almost.
Yeah.
The only great thing for me is during that 20 years, the digital age happened. And, you know, I mean, a lot of people curse it, talk about downloads and whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, and I think a lot of people that are making music now that maybe don't realise that it's forever now.
Yeah.
And it's not whether you have a vinyl record player or whatever. I mean, they're like paintings in the attic. And so, like you say, the songs that I loved and thought nobody will ever hear them, they're dead. Suddenly, they're on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like you say, you start and you think, wow, 50,000 people just
heard it,
held in on it. And you think, wow, that is an amazing thing. That, you know, you don't make any money out of it. But the point is, I think anybody who is in this business for money is, you know,
at this point,
you get found out.
With songwriting, I've noticed you've done a lot of writing for other artists. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. You know, well, you're talking about Brian. You know, I worked with Brian on, not collaborating, but when we did, Roger Daltrey had never had big record sale. The Who, ironically, never really sold a lot of records, you know, huge concert band, but comparatively not big record sales, and Roger certainly never really had and I thought about, my previous manager was, had been with The Who from the beginning, so he was Keith Moon's driver. So I did, you know, 1,000,000 miles with this guy, so I know every Who story from the horse's mouth, all about Keith, and I thought, nobody's ever...
We got time.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I thought, wouldn't it be great to write a song as a tribute to Keith and the story of The Who? And what I like to try and do is to make it ambiguous. So it's under a raging moon, it's about the moon at the back playing, but it's also under a raging moon at Woodstock at night, the crowd reaching up to the helicopter as The Who come down. And so wrote that song for Roger. Brian Adams wrote some songs. A lot of people got together, but the one that stuck was Under a Raging Moon, and became his biggest record over here. Tom Jones I mean, as a kid, I mean, vocally, I think Tom was, the king, and so wrote for Tom, wrote for the Monkees. Remember the Monkees?
Of course,
the Monkees, I forget, but yeah, a lot of people, I've been blessed to kind of, rub shoulders with my heroes and a lot of backroom heroes, that you dream to work with, and I was blessed to.
One more question. Where do you see like the future in terms of your writing? Are you going to plan on doing more records? I mean, what would you like to continue doing in terms of?
I'd love to see The Mission do well and do its job. If it did, The Mission 2's written. I've already written the 15 tracks from The Mission 2 are written. If The Mission 1 doesn't do it, I probably won't do it. I'll just go, and I think I'll make 2 records, almost back to back. One will be a rock record, which will be like, while I'm still kind of like this, still enough juice to kind of rock out and do it. I'm going to do probably something that kind of, I don't know, guitar based, but quite violently guitar based. Probably be kind of Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of thing, where kind of very vocal featured and guitar featured, but very simplistic. So there'll just be bass and drums. It will just be one guitar track, one bass track, and one, commercial songs in terms of commercial rock, but definitely, this kind of venue's music, if you like. So I'd like to make that record, and then the other record will probably be a bit more thoughtful, a bit more older, a bit more, don't have to dye my hair, and you know what I mean, and just be. I mean, most of my stuff is philosophical, but I don't know. When I've been in this business, I've been doing this for 50 years. I've been playing for a living for 50 years. And I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of experience in that. A lot to say. You see a lot of things, and so I think a record that kind of reflected that. Retrospective, but also still looking forward. So I think a lot of people live in the past. And I'm as good as I am tonight. Yeah, it makes no difference what I did yesterday. I'm good as, and I think that's a positive attitude. Whether you're an author, a songwriter, or a singer, we should be better than we were. And age is just an excuse. We get richer, like that wine gets richer, or whatever. I think we maybe can't jump as high or lift as much as we could. But the point is, emotionally, that is increased. Because what you lose here, I think you gain here if you've got the right attitude.
Yeah, well, I can tell you're got a lot of fire in you and you're ready. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. So, I hope everything goes.
Yes, hope it goes good tonight. We ran the sound check tonight, and that's really only probably the third run through of the 7 songs that the band are playing. Tonight.
Awesome. I got one more question. Being a singer.
Yeah.
I'm 33 now, and whenever I meet a really good singer, I have a vocal quiz type thing.
Okay.
I've asked Jolyn Turner, Michael Sweet from Stripe, or Jeff Tate from Queensryche, a lot of guys. What do you recommend to keep your voice in shape?
Do you know, I'm just brutal with it. Honestly, I'm the opposite of. I don't warm up. I don't. They say don't drink milk or whatever.
Steve Lukather.
Well, I know Steve. I toured with Steve for the Toto tour with him.
Yeah.
But what I would say is this: probably the biggest vocal I ever did was the St. Elmo's Fire vocal.
Yeah.
It was done under duress. The thing was, I came straight off the Toto tour. I was singing my first album every night, which was everything C's, D's, and E's, killer stuff for a vocalist. And my voice would be shot nearly every night. The point is, when I came to sing St. Elmo's Fire, I was like an Olympic athlete. My everything was there. So when I had such a big thing to deliver.
His website? Do you have a?
Yeah, we do. If you want to watch what we're doing for the military, John Parr America Facebook. I say we've done 100,000 miles. This record's not marching bands. This is a rock and roll record. You wouldn't know it's about military or patriotic or whatever. It's just a song you're going to hear on the radio. You think, hopefully I like it, and then you're going to hear what it's about.